live in 1 minute. All right. Hi, everybody. I hope you guys are having an incredible week. I'm Geraldine Orozco. This is Bobby Vasquez. I'll have him introduce himself in just a minute. We are here to create a support group this week. We wanted to change up our normal higher healing event and workshop into making it something really interactive and that will really serve you. And so, what we were kind of chatting about doing is we have the Zoom link. You are welcome to join into the Zoom call by following the link, or you can just follow along here by tuning in. But what we're going to be doing is we want to connect with you, tap into you. What are you feeling today? Where are you holding on to stagnant information in the body? And we're going to discuss how to process that through the many different modalities. Rachel Cooley will be joining us shortly in a little bit, but we're going to be working with Bobby. So, Bobby, please introduce yourself. Oh, you're muted.
I'm so sorry. I've been messing with my equipment this morning, and apparently it's getting the best of me. My name is Bobby Vasquez, Bobfield Tuning San Jose. I'm a Bobfield Tuning practitioner, sound therapist, and I help to restore energetic imbalances. We're curious to see what you're experiencing, what you're feeling. What are you dealing with currently at the moment? How is your body dealing with that? How are you feeling about that? And maybe what can you do about that? Putting the power in your hands. So also, let's have a conversation. Come join us. This is a new thing, and we'd really like to see it grow into something really beautiful. So happy to be here with you.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much. And I really love this idea that Bobby was kind of helping put together right now is the idea that we want to hear, what you're dealing with so that we can help provide some tools maybe to help you process some of this blocked information. I think, hey, Rob, how are you? So good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, so we were just talking about how to process any of the stagnant information from the body. That's really what we want to try to do. And of course, both of us worked in that realm of the multidimensional body. Similarly, in some ways, I work with it psychologically, mentally, and from the somatic, emotional part. And Bobby works with vibrational frequency and tuning into the multidimensional body. So these are some really important ways that we tune into the physical body to provide healing. One of the things that I've been hearing over the past couple of weeks is feeling people are feeling really stuck. It's like they have this kind of hit a wall with their spiritual work, and they feel that it's very difficult to move forward. And I know I felt that way too. I feel like I'm kind of moving out of that. I feel like I felt that way for the past 2-3 months, and then things started to move. And I think it has a lot to do with celestial bodies, how we're moving the collective energetically, everything from Schumann resonance to earth grids and how the energy moves through the earth. But Bobby, maybe you could share with us what's one way that you do. What do you do when you feel stuck, or how do you move this energy through your body?
Um, I do a lot of grounding. When I feel stuck and I may be even overwhelmed, because that happens. That happens sometimes with business and just life. If I feel like I have too much on my plate, my favorite medicine is sun and ground. And if I'm feeling really lost in my head, if I'm feeling really, ooh, that's too much, or life's getting to be a little, I need to maybe take a break. And I'll go and meditate in the sun, put my feet in the earth, and hang out there for 20 minutes. I use D Minder, and I get the vitamin D, and I really bring in more vitamin D to my body. It tells me how much time you should be out here. So it's one way to really that it's my go-to. When sun's not out, sometimes I have a little hard time.
Yeah.
You use other things to help you. You use other tools, or you need to find it. When winter comes in, you're like, oh, okay, I'm losing something, so I need to grab something else to help me through this. But I really charge up through the earth and through the sun. I have a big, beautiful, massive tree in my backyard. My neighbors,
Nice.
I used to not like it because of all the leaves, but I really, as the more I lived here, I realized how much it was providing for me, how
Wow.
much energy that I was feeding off, and it was giving all this wonderful life to me. So that's my secret in my backyard, and I'm sharing it with you because it's so accessible. It's really so accessible, and it's some of the like a lot of times people talk about things that they can do. Sometimes there's money involved, and then the continuation of I need to do this on a regular basis. This is something that can be done every day, and it doesn't cost you a thing. And it provides great benefits to your body on a physical, on a spiritual, on an emotional level. But there's great science behind the grounding and what it can do behind for inflammation. So if people are dealing with inflammation, there's so much wonderful stuff based around it. So that's my giveaway.
I agree completely. And I think you're absolutely so right talking about how healing is provided by nature and it's free. And this is something that we tend to forget. We think that again, it's part of that idea that we forgo our free will, we forgo the power that we have within the body to heal itself, and we kind of reach outside of us to find solutions. And really, the solution to your healing is literally in your body. Hey, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us from Kansas. Welcome. Today, we're talking about how to heal the body and what you guys are feeling today. So, if you care to share in the chat, what are some of the things that you're feeling right now collectively? Are you picking up on something? Do we feel stuck? Where are the blockages emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually? And so to go back to this topic, I mean, when I see the multidimensional body, I see runways of energy that move through the body. And one of the ways that I also work every single day, I go out for a walk here in my little creek. And I have trees there. There's one tree that I go to, and I go and I put my hands on it. I put my 2 feet on the floor, and what I feel in the body. And I don't know how you feel. I want you to share with us what you feel. But literally cyclical, the energy moves through the body. It feels almost as if water is running through my body. The tree gives energy, and it aligns with our own toroidal field that runs through the circulating through the body. And I feel that it pulls out the debris from the center core of the body. And immediately I feel this sense of calm. I feel refreshed. I feel energy. And I also put the tip of my tongue to the roof of my palate.
Mhm.
Is that what it's called? Yeah. And it creates kind of like a circuit. It closes the circuit of energy that runs through the body. And that's kind of like a kundalini and a yoga move that we utilize by closing the circuit of energy that runs through the body. And when we are able to do that, we're balancing the positive and negative charges in the body. When we have too much stress, too much anxiety, we're accumulating these negative energy within the body, literally from positive, negative. What do you call that, Bobby?
The ions.
Exactly. Thank you so much. The ions in the body, the negative ions, when we're accumulating that, it's this is what happens when we have so much stress energy that causes chemical imbalance in the body, or too many of those negative chemicals that create inflammation ultimately in the organism. And so over time, if you're continuously having those chemicals run through the body, we become sick. The organs become inflamed. Every part of the body comes out of alignment. So aligning with nature, aligning with the tree is like going to do an energetic wash, inside out from the body. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just, it's funny that you say that, like water, and because that's exactly what I experience when I'm in my work, but also when I'm charging up, when I'm picking up, or when I'm dropping off, I say, because it is a cycle. You're picking up some of the earth's positive, good stuff, and you're dropping off what you no longer need, or where you're dropping off what you've accumulated through the stress, through the EMFs from everything else. So it is that cycle. It's coming in, it's coming out. And I feel that you'll feel that kind of discharge and pickup, so in a way. But it's very much like water, as you feel running through it kind of in your body. And interesting, when I'm working with people, I'll feel that as well, where sometimes with stuck energy, it feels like walking through water. When you walk through water, it's really
Yes.
hard to move through, and I'll feel that. And then sometimes when there's a flow moving through, I'll feel like all of a sudden, like somebody just turned on the faucet and
Mm-hmm.
it's flowing through my hand, and the energy is moving even more. So it's interesting that you pick up on that as well. It's not interesting, but it's good to have another person to speak about it. About, yeah, it's
Yeah.
like water, and I feel like coming on me like a shower in a way, and
Yes.
then discharging. Yeah, it's
Well, it's confirmation, because we're both empathic, we're both sensitive. So it's interesting that, we use the same language to describe what it feels like because it really does truly feel that way. I mean, also another part of a practice and a tool that I use is when I'm in the shower, water has
Mhm.
not only a magnifying effect energetically, it magnifies intention, but as we know by Masaru Emoto's study of water and how it records vibrational frequency when it's frozen, it literally crystallizes with the information that it was intended to. In the shower, I intentionally put a vibrational frequency around my space, imagining a sphere around me and energy. And when that water hits the body, it heals my body. And again, same sensation. It's like running energy through the body. But the way that our body functions is literally like a toroidal field. We have energy running through the center column of the body, and it expels out through the crown of the head. Any time that we have too much stagnation in any of the organs or something comes out of balance, that's when we start seeing slow movement. And what is slow movement? It's the vibrational frequency oscillating at a much slower, wider wavelength. And again, this is what these negative ions are being produced by that slower movement in the physical body. So how do we go into 5D, or how do we go into this new light body, right? Like the Buddhists talked about the rainbow light body. It's an organization through awareness of our multidimensional body and the information that we have within us. So the more and more that we wake up, the more that we become conscious, aware of ourselves as a multidimensional 360-degree organism, we begin to activate our DNA, we activate our awareness, our healing, and many of these systems in the organs in the body come back into a balance, which are mimicking nature, the natural movements of nature. And that's what we want to do. So, Bobby, let me ask you with sound, and I know we talked about this at the Higher Self Expo, and you gave such an incredible explanation about how, you feel with your tuning forks in the field. But when the energy moves, let's say you find something and you begin to move it out, does that feel different to you?
Yes, yes. It also feels different when, because sometimes you'll hit a stuck spot where it feels like I'm in a wall, and I won't be able to, and we're not sure why. Usually, and eventually I get to that. Okay, this is the heavier moment that took place in life, and that's why it's not moving at all. Something hits. It's either the person has this awareness, they might even remember it and mention something that triggers their memory about it, their eyes might open. There's all these interesting things that could happen. And once it happens, all of a sudden I can move. All of a sudden I'm moving forward. All of a sudden this stuck energy that was stuck is no longer stuck. And now I can, it's kind of like you're kind of hurting it in a way, you're like pushing it in this other direction because it was stuck at this one point. But it's an interesting moment because it comes with either, and they don't always have to realize, they don't always have to have awareness. It might just take some time. But it's a big feel where you would feel, you kind of like it's like a push in a way, and where you're going, and all of a sudden you're hitting this wall, and then all of a sudden your body kind of goes forward in this direction. And I've even I had a client once, and I totally remember this, that they remembered the moment, they remembered it, and they had this awareness, and the fork got brought to their body like a magnet. Yeah, yeah, like I came to the body like a magnet, and it was the most interesting. Like I was probably like midway, this person remembered it, and all of a sudden I'm like right by them. And I was like, "Wow, did you see that?" And it was just interesting because there was this clarity of what was taking place. There was this clarity of what was happening and why it was happening, and this awareness of almost like what they were doing and what they needed to stop doing in a way. And they had this awareness, right?
Wow.
And yeah, and it was quite amazing. It felt like a magnet. The fork just comes into the body, like whoa, you know.
Amazing, amazing. And we just have an incredible well, we just had Michael, one of our numerologists, our master numerologist, was just in the Zoom room. Hopefully he comes back. Come back, Michael. Hopefully he comes as he's incredible. But you know what I wanted to add to that, which is really really interesting that you talk about how you literally you felt that and they felt the magnetic pull. Um, in my shamanic training, one of the things that we exercised was when we put our protective field or when we intend to be aware of our energetic boundary, other people feel that. Literally, it feels like you are putting a wall. In the same way that we utilize this technique called in body of glass or invisible body, when we do that, we imagine ourselves as not the physical but as a light, and people feel that as well. And the way that we do it in workshops is that we line up the groups of people directly in front of each other, and each one will direct energy at one another. And when the person goes into body of glass, the person throwing the energy literally feels like they're falling forward because there's no resistance to that energy. There's nothing that's like a wall that's hitting it. The people that put their protection when the opposite is throwing the energy, it blocks. And this is a technique that's utilized in Tai Chi and a lot of martial arts. It's the power of utilizing energy and intention to direct energy as it moves through and around you. So this is something that I really feel like when I learned that, it really made me think like, how is it that we not know this? We need to learn this in school. You know, when we're angry at one another and we direct this energy, we're literally letting out vibrational patterns of information that are really affecting the other person. And it really allows us to become accountable with our expression. Energy is vibrational frequency. It is literally affecting the things around us and it affects our body. So the more and more we learn about that dynamic and that exchange, the more we can learn that in spaces where we need to be more expansive, for example, and we expand our vibrational frequency, we will call attention. You will definitely bring attention to yourself. In the places that you need more protection and you become invisible or you protect yourself, you're not seen. And these are techniques that were used just like my little cousin was telling me. It's like Hogwarts, this little magic, those little
Hmm.
magic storybooks, where he told me that they use this little blanket called an invisible cloak, and the child would be invisible and they could move around the room, right? Well, we have that technique. We have that technology within our body. We can literally affect people's perceptions by the intention that we create in our physical body. So I just wanted to add that. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Bobby.
if we don't want to be bothered, and we want to have enough protection around us, it can easily be done. And a lot of times it can easily be done unknowingly. It can easily be done unknowingly and be like, well, how come I'm not connecting with people? I'm not making friends. And meanwhile, there's been this pattern of protection for so long through life's happenings or existence, and that protection is just out because whether they had to protect themselves from so much in life and it's still there, the shield, and they're not even knowing what's happening. It can even be ancestral. It can be, ancestral patterns of safety and that fear mechanism, I need to survive type of thing that they don't even realize they're putting out there. And when they're interacting with other individuals, the public, it can definitely be out there unknowingly.
You're absolutely right, Bobby. I'm so glad you brought that up because that's exactly right. And literally, when we leave the body, hi, Michael, welcome.
Hi, Michael.
When we leave the body, I think he's connecting his audio still. When we are in this state of fear or anxiety or insecurity, for example, when you see a body, when I look at a body that's doing that, their essence, their primary energy is above here. It's above their head. It's not in their physical body. And this really goes into the topic of how we are attracting and pulling in things that we don't want in our energetic space. We literally become, because we're unconscious and because we don't want to experience maybe scary emotions or overwhelming experiences, we leave the body and we tend to just stay up here. And what happens is that the physical body is very much an organic system and it begins to absorb things unconsciously because it is still very much alive, very aware. It's still interacting with its environment. So it can pull in entities, attachments, things that don't belong to you, and they get stuck in the body as this form. And sometimes people can begin to feel anxiety without even understanding why they're feeling anxiety. Empaths that are unconscious and have not trained their abilities end up feeling this way. You know, either incredibly drained when they're in places, or incredibly depressed, or some kinds of emotions that go out of balance as a result of that unconscious awareness. So it's really important, again, to remember that when we are conscious, when we embody the physical, taking up the space of this holographic physical projection, we can be in charge. We can then choose with free will what we allow to bring into our space and what we don't want into our space. And that's really, really important. It's important that we understand those techniques. Any techniques that you can share with us about maybe cleansing and protection that you utilize in sound healing? Is there anything that you guys utilize?
For protection, one thing about sound, it's so powerful, right? And it's been something really deep beyond biofield tuning as far as the healing properties of what sound can do and clearing. It sounds pretty amazing, and it's simple. It's kind of simple too, a lot more simpler than we give credit to. You know, we have to do this. If you're feeling stagnant energy in your house, you can, if you have a bell, if you have, you know, like a person like myself, I would have a tuning fork and I might go into the corners and clear stagnant energy. If, because we all know that, especially if we're feeling the energy, if we're somewhat empathic on the vibe of the room, you know, when you walk into a room, you know, when you come home and maybe somebody had a guest over and you're feeling that vibe and maybe you want to clear it and maybe it's affecting you. So, you know, some of the easiest things that, you know, you can use either a bell. You know, sometimes people have bells. Sometimes people even use they clap in the corners to kind of get rid of the energy. Any kind of noisemakers. You know, a lot of times people have noisemakers and they don't realize why they have them. If you're, at least maybe that's what I do. I have a lot of noisemakers around home, and I might, you know, like I have a little noise egg. We'll shake it up. You shake the area around, and these are like it's a percussion thing. So little noisemakers, little things that you can shaking up the sound, shaking up the space. Move it out, you know, move it out. And that's some of the simplest ways that you can clear space within your room, within your sitting. And that's also clearing space for you and your body. You know, but that's one of the easiest things that I can recommend for people, especially, you know, they're going into a new home. Maybe there's a lot of in and outs in people's homes. Clearing, you know, people use bells, they use tuning forks, they clap. I've heard of people using pots and pans, you know, kind of shaking that. Whatever, you know, sound is very, it's very powerful, and there can almost be no limits except for what you put on it. And that's kind of what I, you know, for some of these things that you're helping. As far
Yes.
as for self, you know, I do a lot of, I tune myself, and I use a lot of binaural beats for clearing my mind. I like to meditate, but I like, and I enjoy meditating, but I feel I go a little bit deeper with the binaural effect. Um, whether it's, you know, some kind of theta binaural beat, something a little bit deeper where it doesn't give my mind a chance to go somewhere else. Because sometimes my mind gets busy, especially if I have a lot of life happening, and I can have a little difficulty where, like, okay, you need to calm down with life, um, and I'm okay with that. So that's why I use binaural beats to really kind of throw me in this deeper state where you don't, some if binaural beats, there's a lot out there and there's a lot of stuff that you're just uncertain about. Is it real? Is it legit? Is it good quality? Is it high quality? The only
Yeah.
way, the best way you can really find out is give it a shot. Put 5 minutes, you know, put earbuds in because you need to have earbuds. If you go somewhere, oh, that's some good stuff, right? You know, like if you're away, kind of like, oh, this is nice. Maybe it's not really, or maybe it's not what you need at that time, you know, because I also find that too. Sometimes you meditate with these things and then your body takes what it needs. And then you go meditate with it and you're like, I'm not getting that same relaxation. I'm not going that same depth that I was going before. It's the same way like when you listen to that song and you hear it every day, and then you're like, I don't need to listen to that anymore. You got the frequencies you needed from it.
Hmm.
Same with kind of the binaural beats. You got the frequencies of what your body needed for more balancing. So it's like a sort of like a next. Let me find something else that my body is vibing with to fill in those spaces.
Oh my God, so on point. Absolutely agreed. And it's interesting that you were talking about how the loud noises, I mean, in the Tibetans, the Hindus, and even the Caros in South America, the shamans in South America, they use the exact same techniques for removing evil spirits from spaces that are trapped. It's the sound, the vibrational frequency that moves them out of the house. And of course, when we talk about sound healing, like sound bowls and gongs, some of the most powerful healings I've experienced are with these massive gongs in the space that, the vibration just cleans your energy. And it's similar to standing underneath a waterfall or a rushing river, because what it is that direction of energy is pushing the life force. It's just, to me, it's so incredible and so beautiful because it's proof that we live in a multidimensional reality. We are surrounded by energy and life force that is meaningful. It is affecting our experience. So the more we realize that, the more we understand that we really are these creators of our experience, and we can shift and change. The other part about what I wanted to speak to, this binaural beats, which I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but you know, you're right about, you will tell if it's actually affecting you in some way. In meditation, I've used sometimes these binaural beats in order to expand, for example, the heart chakra or the throat chakra, depending on the vibrational frequency. But here's a question that I have for you. Does that frequency speak to a specific chakra, or do you think that it affects the entire body? What do you think?
Um, I think that frequency, well, it depends because, when you're doing it in binaural, it's brainwave states, right? So we're going into different brainwave states depending on the frequency. And that's more brainwave entrainment, which I feel will affect the whole body. It'll affect the whole body on a deeper level. And specifically, I think, just my opinion and even my own experience, it affects the body that needs the help. So it's like there's certain parts that we need more love, right? We need more attention. It needs more light. It needs more frequency. So when we go into those brain entrainment states, now whatever for rejuvenation, for restoration, it's going to whatever the body part is in need of. What is calling the most attention right now, and that's where I feel like the energy goes to, because also from self experience, if I have an ache or something in a certain area, you go into a little bit, it's usually gone. Because it like filled in that space. That's kind of an interesting more speak about, but it's like you're filling in that space. You're filling in with frequency, with light, however you might want to look at it.
Yeah,
And
you're absolutely right. Oh my God, that's so on point, Bobby. Thank you for that. But yeah, so tell us in the comments below, what are you guys dealing with? Where are your challenges when it comes to spiritual healing, or your evolution, your progression, the work that you're doing? Where are you guys feeling stuck right now? I know from working with my clients in the past couple of weeks, what I keep hearing over and over again is that people feel that they have hit a wall in their ability to connect to source. And I want to know if this is something that's maybe extending out to you guys. I find it very interesting. I feel like sometimes we go through cyclical patterns. Ascension and our experience with our reality is always cyclical. So always we're going to go through patterns of discovery, and we're going to go through patterns of integration. There's moments where we have to integrate what we've learned, and there's moments where we're going to be, learning and discovering more. But holding and integrating that space, I think at the end of the day, really comes down to like basics. Are we grounded? Are we aware of our space? Are we, trying to observe more than constantly get identified with the things that are happening around us? Sarah says motivation to keep pushing forward. See, yeah. So let's take a look at that. Let's talk about motivation to keep moving forward. Bobby, what do you think?
motivation to keep moving forward. That's a good one, because we all experience this. This is something that we always experience, and I remember even at our panel, they're like, how do you have the strength to move forward? You're always kind of experiencing that. And I think that's part of the cycle. That's part of this process as we begin to do the work. It's like once you start doing the work, you kind of can't undo the work, or once you know, you don't unknow it, right? And so you continue on that path of doing the work. So you're going to be in that. You might be fatigued, you might be tired, you might feel like, "Ah, I don't want to do this anymore." But there's something deep inside you that's going to keep moving you on, especially if you're on that right path, especially if you're doing the right things for yourself. There's
Yeah.
something, and there's always extra reserves within us, buried even when we think that we don't have it. There's always that extra source of energy. So how do like and I'll bring that back to energy management. Energy management, how do I continue to move forward? Well, I look at my energy and I manage it almost like a currency. Sometimes I look at that similar to money. If I'm giving out my energy, making sure I receive that energy, this will allows me to continue to move forward with ease. Being in those situations where I'm giving and it's returning like a cycle, right? Like that cycle, if I'm going to spend my energy, you need to receive it in some ways. You need to fill up your tank. So it's really kind of important to and I speak with this with a lot of clients, and just kind of energy management. If you're going to be giving, are you receiving? If you're going to be giving a lot of love, are you receiving the love? And just kind of that flow, right? Because we can only give so much before it does have a negative effect and there's not anything in return. So those are some of my thoughts on just like moving forward. How do you keep going? You continue to manage your energy, and just when you think those reserves are almost over, there's more in there. I believe in you, and we have support here for you also as well. It's something that we're trying to create.
Yeah. Agreed completely. Thank you so much for that, Bobby. I want to add to that from the perspective of activation of your multidimensional body. First of all, where I see it, Sarah, in the multidimensional body for you, it's storing here in the root, in the very lower back of the body, in the hips, and in the back of the knees. And a lot of times when I see this kind of energy, it has to do with the maternal lineage. So, the mother, is there resentment, fear, blockages with the divine feminine for externally, our perception externally, and our perception internally. So take a look at around those areas, like where are we battling? And this is something that collectively a lot of people are dealing with. Mother trauma is really coming up for us. How we feel blocked as a result of that. Because here's what does the divine feminine mother represent? That's intuition. That's the listening to the intuitive and providing safe space in a state of complete surrender, feeling safe in that surrender. So that's something that we need to look at when we're talking about motivation. But let me talk to you from how to activate your body in order to move forward. Oftentimes when we feel stuck, not only is it happening because of emotions, but also we are replaying the cyclical ancestral programs and traumas that have come to a culmination emotionally, and that culmination has caused a blockage because it's overwhelming. It's not moving through the body. So in those cases, what we need to do is we need to change the vibrational frequency and how we're co-creating. It means that your vibrational signature right now, it's speaking to this blockage. That's all that we're giving to the world. So when we embody that blockage, we're getting that blockage back, and we're not seeing things move. We're not aligning with the opportunities we need. We're not getting the inspiration or the will or drive or creativity flowing to do what we need to do. So our crown chakra, our seventh and our eighth chakra, is actually the centers of manifestation and creation. This is where the non-physical meets the physical, and where we're projecting holographically what we're going to experience. So this is something as part of the course that I teach. But let me just read really quickly the outline of this so you can use these techniques. So imagine your eighth chakra is sitting about a foot above your head. Your eighth chakra is where you create your direct relationship with Creator. There are many levels of Creator you can experience, and each has their own color. Whatever color or level you put in your eighth chakra determines the type of reality or experience you're creating from. Okay, so dropping to a lower creator level vibrational frequency puts you into feelings of separation and doubt and will lead to counter creation. When you change that color into a higher vibrational state, you come into pure creator form, intentional creation. And so this is what we want to try to change. What I invite for you to do is to sit in meditation, closing the first three chakras, opening the top three, coming into a state of complete awareness and protection. And I want you to see a blank white screen in front of you to identify what your highest vibrational frequency is at this time. And the first color that comes up or colors that come up, I want you to put that into your crown. And you're going to imagine that your crown chakra is divided into different sections, all of the different aspects of your life, your career, relationships, your health, family, intimate relationships, your gifts to the world, your spiritual work. Go ahead and align all of those areas with that color. And this has changed my life because when I started to utilize this technique every day, I started to getting calls from clients, I started getting opportunities, I started not having to be in a state of fear or anxiety, but more flow, trusting. That is the exercise of embodying that trust. So anyway, I invite you to try that out. Let me know what you think, and yeah, give us some feedback and let us know later.
Thank you. That was
Awesome.
nice.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sarah, for that comment. Very good. Well, let's for closing, I guess, or to resume, Bobby. Um, let's talk a little bit more about when you're working with this vibrational frequency, sound in particular. How much effect does the sounds we make affect our environment? Do you have any comment?
The sounds we make as in like we speak or what we
Yeah.
put out. Yeah, you know, that, like that. Well, you know, our bodies are really powerful, right? And our bodies are always listening. The environment's always listening. So as you speak and whatever you put out, there's definitely your environment is having a big response on it. Um, I've even heard, and this is interesting. I've heard like people as we're learning in this, right? And this is something I'll share. Somebody like made a joke about what they were doing while somebody was working in the field, and they moved back in space. So like as the idea is we're always trying to move forward.
Yeah.
We're always trying to move forward and moving that energy forward. And a person was working with somebody, a friend, and they made it like a joke about, you know, about their like confidence or something. And they moved back in energy. They moved back in space because it was like this, like don't watch what really, and it was really like this awareness of watch your words because this is also affecting your energy. This is affecting that vibration. This is affecting the stuckness that is taking place. And if we're trying to clear, if we're trying to balance, this undoes that. This has a way of undoing it. And whether you're joking, you imagine that that's like if you're joking. Imagine if you're serious and saying that all the time, or if you're, it's about like your confidence in yourself. You know, I've seen energy scans being affected by doing a positive motion, by saying positive things, and then we do an energy scan working with BioWell, and then the heart goes forward uplifting the energy of the heart chakra because they did one minor thing that was a positive way towards another human being. You know, so these things are very can affect so much really really quick, very sensitive on what you do. I
Wow.
think
You're
yeah, it's
so
like
right.
it was just like how like I think it was like they were like rubbing their back or something by small. Oh, I got a kink right. They worked on it, and then it totally shifted because this person was giving all their time and energy towards that individual, and then their heart chakra opened up and moved forward with energy. It was interesting, and then visually seeing the other or hearing about the other with the experience. our words are very powerful, and our bodies are extremely powerful as well. We have a way of really running the show. We have a way of letting it run the show as well. So, like anything, it's balance.
Yes, you're
It's
absolutely
balance in
right.
how we navigate through this. So, uh, it's really important to watch what we say. It's really important to watch how we interact. Um, and it's also important to express ourselves freely, because sometimes that expression or the lack of expression creates a lot of this stuck stuff that creates a lot of like this energetic tension until it comes out in like this energetic explosion. It's
Yeah.
like a energy like and then it kind of settles. But a lot of times people don't get to that for it to settle. So there's a lot of tension without them knowing that it can come out in a healthy way. That's what I work with a lot with people. Like, how can we express ourselves in a healthy manner? So maybe
Right.
we're not having this self-talk. So we're not, or negative self-talk. So we're not having this negative self-confidence talk towards self or people. If these emotions are built in through an experience, how can you express it healthily so it doesn't get us or trigger us every time something like this happens or something like that?
Yeah.
So express yourself freely in a nice way, in a healthy way. See what the root is there.
Yeah, in a genuine way where it's respectful to yourself and others. I think that we're really dealing with that a lot right now, aren't we? I mean, with so much censorship and this cancel culture or whatever it is that's happening in the world that, we're saying, don't speak, don't say, don't do this. But, I think there's two sides to the sword also. I think the invitation in my eyes by seeing what's happening in the world around us is to really check in with what you're saying also. Is it congruent to your beliefs, or are we just repeating things that we hear? And I think the things that are received the best and delivered are the things that are spoken in the highest truth, or the one that is most congruent and in alignment with all participants. The more that we speak for the betterment of the collective, I think that's where we're headed, is that it rings true for everyone because it's everyone's truth. Everyone wants that collective well-being, and that's I really hope that the future of our communication, which I believe is now going to be more telepathic. I think we're tapping into those higher energies, higher abilities. It's an invitation to tap into intuitive communication. Are you connecting with what this other person that you're communicating with? And are you speaking to that truth, or are you coming from a place of fear and blockage and stagnation? So, hi, Rachel. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, I think you're muted.
Hello, loves. So happy to
Hi.
be here.
Yeah, so great to have you. Well, we were kind of wrapping up. We were talking about different energies and modalities in healing, but I mean, we'd love to hear your opinion on this. We were talking about, clearing the throat chakra and also speaking your truth, allowing that communication to flow. So, any comments, anything that you want to add to that?
Yeah, I would love to add to that. It is important to be mindful of our throat chakras because I think a lot of us have felt holding back to speaking our truth. But I feel that the energies now are helping us to have the courage and confidence to speak our truth. And we have guides, I'm tapped into the angelic realm. That's the realm I love to work in. And they are so amazing in helping us to speak our truth with clarity, light, and grace, and to have the courage and confidence to speak up and to speak our truth and to not hold back. Because I think a lot of us have held back in our lives speaking from our hearts and our truth. And I feel that the time is ripe right now to feel more freedom and courage in speaking our truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. We were talking about what do we do when we feel stagnant or when we're dealing with stagnation, and how do we heal from that? So, is there anything that you would like to add to that topic of
Yeah,
healing and
healing from stagnation. Yes, I would love to add to that because I feel like a lot of us are coming out of stagnation, like the energy is opening up more. And I feel that we have and know that we have support, like I was saying, and speaking our truth, but also in coming out of stagnation. And I invite everyone to call upon their divine guides, their angels, whoever you're dialed into, like collectively, energetically, to support you in coming out of the stagnation and coming into your divine light, and for you to have that support to help you to come out of stagnation and to be your true self. So I feel that the time is now for us to come out of our closets of like hiding who we really are and to be authentic with our gifts and the messages that we have to share with the world.
Hmm. Yeah, it really is about that personal empowerment, about what we're creating and what we're experiencing. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, awesome. Well, anything else that we can discuss? I thank you so much for joining us. We have Sandra here, and Sarah and Rob, and I really appreciate all your comments and your interactions with us. Please let us know if you have any questions. And to close our connection today, we are going to be holding these kinds of groups, support groups, once a month. And the idea is that we're going to dive deep into the topics of what the collective is feeling. It's kind of like we want to feel the pulse. We're all healers. We all work with different clients throughout the week. And I think that we all agree to the fact that sometimes we're dealing with collective energies that pop up in space, and in a sense, some of these things we're seeing some trends. And so we can speak to that. We're all evolving collectively at the same rate. How can we support you in that evolution and where you're feeling stuck? And we have so many different modalities that can speak to that healing. So yeah, our next event is going to be August 4th, and we have another wonderful event that's going to be alive as well. Not a workshop, but more of a meditation slash just lecture that we will share with you. So please join us for that. You can RSVP on the Hirehealing page. And of course, as always, please do feel free to reach out to us in the collective Hirehealing in order to get help and support. And so please, if you guys would speak about your healing modalities, and I'll go last. Go ahead.
You want it? Should I go ahead?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Geraldine. So I am Rachel Cooley. Came in a little bit late. I was at a client session, and I'm so happy to be here. And I'm so blessed and happy to be one of our Hirehealing collective. We're going on our 1-year anniversary. I believe it is in August. And so it's just so divine that we all came together at this amazing time, this planet. I'm just really feeling that energy even more. And I just well with gratitude with that. So thank you, Geraldine, for being our amazing leader of our beautiful group of healers and intuitives. So what I do is I help those, in particular, healers, light workers, intuitives, even those of you that are emerging, to tap into the power of the angels to help you in your life, in your practice you're either currently in or the one you're meant to have. And I in fact have a masterclass. I'll put the link in the thread here. I have a masterclass this Monday, 4 to 5:30 p.m. And it's all on angel mentoring for intuitives, for light workers, and for soulpreneurs, those that are feeling guided to bring in the realm of the angelic into whatever you're doing for your personal life or for the work that you're bringing to the world. So wanted to share about that, and I'll add the link into the thread there. Blessings to all.
Thank you. My name is Bobby Vasquez, Biofield Tuning San Jose. I'm a Biofield Tuning practitioner. I help people get unstuck through sound, vibration, restoring energetic imbalances. But I also started working as a coach to help move you forward in life so we can see where you are getting stuck. And once we clear this energy, we can move forward with a plan of action that you create, because understandably, I know that everybody holds all the answers within them, and everybody has a lot of potential. So this is wonderful work, and I'd love to be of service for you. Reach out if you'd like.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And of course, you can connect with their individual websites to book sessions with them. They are so happy to work with you, and also through Hirehealing. And please check out our other amazing healers that are a part of our group of healers, and other healers internationally that are connecting with us to grow the family of healing and bringing support and awareness to the empowerment of the human soul, which is what we're here to do. My name is Geraldine Orozco. I'm I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and among other things, I do DNA reprogramming. And please do check out my services as well if you feel free or called to work with me, and it would be a pleasure. So thank you again so much for joining us, and I really look forward to connecting with you on the 4th of next month for our next event. All my love.